They whispered she was barren, but Ngozi carried a secret even time could not touch. For decades she had waited, hoping, wondering, never imagining that on the morning of her 60th birthday, her life would change in a way the world could hardly believe. Let's dive into the story, and please subscribe. Ngozi, now in her late 40s, lived in a quiet village, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests that whispered with the wind. Her days were filled with work, tending the garden, fetching water from the river, teaching village children to read and write, and helping neighbors with chores. Her life was busy, full, yet her heart carried a quiet ache no one could see. She had been married to Chijioke for decades. Their home was small but warm, built with love and care. They shared laughter, companionship, and a gentle rhythm of life, but in one corner of their home stood an empty cradle, a silent reminder of the children who had never come. The villagers whispered. Their questions were always gentle, yet they cut deeply. When will she have children? They asked. Perhaps it's impossible for her. Ngozi smiled politely each time, but inside, the ache lingered. She had learned to hide it, to pour her love into others, and to be patient. Every festival, every family gathering, every shared meal felt incomplete without the presence of children. For Ngozi and Chijioke, joy was always tinged with emptiness. They would watch their neighbors and cousins with their children, and the silence in their home grew louder. It wasn't just the absence of children that haunted Ngozi's heart, it was the judgment that came with it. At family gatherings, the same questions returned year after year. When will you have children, Ngozi? Her auntie Yuzo would ask, as if the answer were so simple. Ngozi would force a smile. I am content, Yuzo. Chijioke and I are enough. But the reality was far from simple. It wasn't enough. She wasn't enough. The empty cradle always reminded her of a failure she could never escape. She had given everything to her marriage, to her community, to her work. She had raised other people's children, but the space in her heart never went away. As a girl of 17, Ngozi had wandered into the woods one evening and stumbled upon an old woman, Nneka, the village seer. She lived deep within a grove of ancient trees where the sunlight barely filtered through. People rarely visited her, except with questions about the future. There was something in her presence that made Ngozi stop, as if drawn by an invisible force. The old woman's eyes were sharp and knowing, her voice calm yet filled with wisdom. What are you doing here, child? Nneka asked as Ngozi approached. I'm just wandering in the woods, Ngozi replied. Do you know who I am? I am the seer, Nneka. I see all things, the past, the present, and the future. I knew you would pass here someday. Tell me, what is your greatest desire? To be a mother one day, Ngozi whispered. Nneka studied her with ancient eyes, pausing as though weighing her words. You are destined for something far greater than motherhood, my child. The gods have spoken of you. Ngozi's heart skipped. Destined for something greater. What do you mean? You will not experience motherhood like others, Nneka said, her voice like a steady stream. Not in the way you expect. But you will become a mother, teacher, guide, protector. Your children will not come in the way you imagine, but they will come when the world needs them most. Ngozi's heart sank. Why can't I have children like everyone else? She asked, her voice trembling. Nneka smiled gently. The world has a plan for you. Patience is required. When the time is right, your children will come. Now, in the present, Nneka's words often return to her thoughts. Ngozi murmured them to herself at night, a fragile comfort that had carried her through decades of hope and heartache. She loved the village children as if they were her own, guiding them, nurturing them, celebrating their successes, and consoling their losses. Yet the prophecy's promise still lingered, half comfort, half torment. Chijioke, though patient and supportive, carried his own silent pain. He knew about Neko's prophecy on Ngozi. He never blamed Ngozi, never voiced the longing, but she saw it in his eyes when he watched other fathers with their children. Some nights they lay awake, his arm around her, the silence heavy with unspoken thoughts. She loved him deeply, but feared his patience might one day turn to resentment. And always, the villagers asked, judged, and suggested remedies. Try this, Auntie Yuzo would say, as if the ache of years could be solved like an illness. Ngozi endured it all quietly. Years went by. On the morning of her 60th birthday, the sun rose across the hills, bathing the village in gold. Ngozi awoke earlier than usual, a strange thrill in her chest. The air felt alive, expectant. As she went about her chores, she felt something shift, a flutter deep in her belly, a heaviness, a sudden wave of fatigue. She dismissed it. 60 years brings many changes. Yet a daring hope whispered, could it be? By mid-morning, the feeling had grown undeniable. Trembling, she went to the village healer. The woman examined her carefully, her face unreadable. Finally, she spoke. Ngozi, I have seen many things, but never this. You are with child. Ngozi staggered backward. With child? At my age? Impossible. But the healer nodded solemnly. Life grows within you. Chijioke, who had followed her inside, grasped her hands, his voice shaking. We are going to have a child. Is this real? Ngozi sank onto a stool, her heart pounding. She had prayed and waited for decades, but never imagined this. Tears welled in her eyes. How can this be? After so long. The healer only smiled. Some miracles cannot be explained. They come when the time is right. That evening, as the village gathered to celebrate Ngozi's birthday, she stood before them. Torches flickered, children she had raised clutched handmade gifts, and the elders leaned forward expectantly. Ngozi rested her hands on her belly and spoke. Thank you all for coming. Tonight, I have something extraordinary to share. For years you asked why I had no children. It was not because I could not. It was because destiny had other plans. When I was young, the seer Neko told me I would become a mother when the world needed me most. Today, that prophecy is fulfilled. I am with child. Auntie Yuzo's mouth hung open in disbelief, her eyes wide with shock. I've spent years serving the children of this village. I have raised many of them as my own, guided them, loved them, and watched them grow. After many years of waiting, the prophecy is fulfilled. I am finally going to be a mother. The room fell silent. Then it erupted in a mixture of gasps, regret, confusion, and excitement. The family gathered around her, their faces filled with apology, understanding, and regret. I'm so sorry, Auntie Yuzo whispered. I never understood. I never knew the burden you carried. I thought you didn't care. But now I see. Now I understand. Ngozi embraced her, tears welling in her eyes. It wasn't easy, Yuzo. But the world had a plan for me. And now I am ready. Pregnant, at 60, someone murmured. Others nodded, unable to believe their ears. Chijioke stepped forward, holding Ngozi's hands gently. "It is true," he said softly, his voice trembling. "A miracle has come to us. Life has begun in her womb. We are about to be blessed beyond imagination." Tears welled in Ngozi's eyes. She had waited decades for this, endured years of longing and unanswered prayers, and now she was standing in the glow of her community's love, carrying the secret of new life. Her heart was full, trembling with joy, disbelief, and wonder. The villagers erupted in gentle cheers, laughter, and tears. Children hugged her, neighbors offered congratulations, and even the elders shook their heads in amazement. The miracle had arrived, and it had chosen to appear in the most unexpected, unimaginable way. That night, as the lanterns flickered and the village celebrated around her, Ngozi felt a quiet, magical certainty. The prophecy had been fulfilled, not entirely as she imagined, for the full miracle was still hidden, but enough to fill her heart with awe. A new life had begun, and the world had paused to witness it. In the days and weeks that followed her miraculous discovery, Ngozi's life shifted in quiet, powerful ways. Each morning, she awoke with a mixture of awe and gratitude, feeling subtle movements and flutters that reminded her of the life growing within her. Every shift, every sign, felt like a whisper from the universe itself, confirming that the impossible had truly begun. The villagers, who had gathered to celebrate her birthday, now watched in wonder as word of her pregnancy spread. They came by her home, bringing gifts of herbs, fresh fruits, and warm meals. Chijioke remained steadfast, supporting her through every moment. Some days the weight of carrying new life left her exhausted, yet he was always there, steadying her, holding her hands, whispering gentle encouragement. "It's happening, Ngozi," he would say softly. "The miracle is here. You are strong enough to carry it." Ngozi marveled at the resilience of life and her own body. She followed the healer's advice carefully, taking gentle herbs, resting when she needed to. Each day she felt more connected, not only to the life she carried, but to the prophecy she had held in her heart for decades. The village buzzed with curiosity and quiet amazement. Elders shook their heads, whispering among themselves about the extraordinary nature of this pregnancy. At 60 years, and carrying life inside her, one said in wonder, "The gods have truly blessed her." Even the children she had raised seemed to sense the magic. They would visit her daily, singing songs or telling stories to the life inside her, their voices full of innocent hope and reverence. And in these moments, Ngozi felt a profound sense of purpose. Decades of love and patience had led to this, and every heartbeat, every kick, was a gift she had waited her entire life to receive. As months passed, Ngozi's belly grew extremely big. She would touch her stomach and whisper, "I don't yet know how many of you there are, but I will love you all completely, no matter what. You are my miracle, and I will cherish you with all my heart." Villagers noticed how extremely big Ngozi's belly had become, and they whispered to one another, "There is no way she is carrying only one child." The villagers were anxious and prepared quietly. A special corner of her home was made ready for the coming baby, or babies, they would say, with blankets, soft mats, and handmade toys. Even the animals seemed to sense the anticipation. The chickens clucked gently, the dogs lay calmly by the doorway, and the wind through the trees seemed to hum with expectation. Ngozi felt the final weeks approaching. She moved carefully, resting often, feeling the gentle nudges and kicks, each one a reminder of the life she had waited for all her days. She spoke softly to the life inside her, whispering promises of love, protection, and joy. Every evening, she would sit beside Chijioke, feeling the life within her stir, and they would sit in quiet together. The prophecy, once a vague whisper from Neka, now felt alive and tangible. Yet the full magnitude of the miracle, the number of children, remained hidden, keeping the suspense and wonder alive for the moment of birth. And so the village waited alongside her, hearts full of anticipation. The day of arrival drew ever closer, and the world seemed to pause in quiet reverence, ready to witness a miracle unlike any it had ever seen. The morning dawned cool and calm, the sun spilling golden light across the village. Ngozi felt a strange urgency deep within her, a rhythm unlike anything she had known. The day had arrived, the culmination of decades of waiting, hope, and longing. Chijioke stayed by her side, steady and reassuring, holding her hand as waves of pain came and went. Each contraction brought both strain and wonder. "You are strong, Ngozi," he whispered, though his own voice trembled. "We've waited so long, and now it is your time." Outside, the villagers had gathered, sensing something extraordinary was unfolding. Elders murmured prayers, and even the animals lay strangely quiet. Then the moment came. Ngozi bore down with every ounce of strength, and at last a cry filled the room, a baby boy. Chijioke's eyes overflowed as he lifted the child. "A son, Ngozi. Our son." Ngozi smiled through her tears, whispering, "My son," but before she could rest, another pain seized her. The midwife shouted, "There is another." With disbelief and effort, Ngozi pushed again. A girl was born, her cry sharp and strong. "A daughter," Ngozi gasped, clutching her husband's hand, her heart swelling with joy. But the labor did not stop. Another wave tore through her body. The midwife's eyes widened. "There is still another." The room filled with shock and whispers. Ngozi screamed, pushed, and a second boy entered the world. Chijioke's hands shook as he received the child. 2 sons, a daughter, 3 children. The villagers outside gasped as the news spread, 3 children born to a woman of 60. Yet still, Ngozi's body clenched. She cried out but found one last reserve of strength. With a final push, another cry split the air, a second daughter. Silence gripped the room for a heartbeat, then erupted into cries of astonishment. "4," the midwife exclaimed. 2 boys and 2 girls. Chijioke fell to his knees. 4 children. Ngozi, our miracle. Ngozi cradled them all in her trembling arms, her heart bursting with love and disbelief. Every year of waiting, every tear shed, had led to this moment, the prophecy fulfilled in a way more glorious than she had ever imagined. The villagers rushed forward, some weeping, others singing praises. Children danced, elders blessed the newborns, and even Auntie Yuzo, through her tears, whispered, "I never believed, but now I see the gods have truly blessed you." Ngozi smiled, exhausted but radiant, whispering to her babies, "You are my joy, my miracle, my gift to the world." Stories of that night would be told for generations, the day Ngozi, at 60 years old, gave birth to quadruplets, fulfilling a prophecy long forgotten. In her arms, the children slept peacefully, unaware of the wonder they had brought. Ngozi knew the truth, patience and hope had carried her through, and love had never been wasted. Patience and hope can bring miracles. Love given freely is never lost. Life's wonders often arrive unexpectedly. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more interesting stories, and don't forget to turn on the post notification bell to be notified when next I post. Thanks for watching.